Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Twin Love, and this is Anthony and I'm here with chapter 3 of my twin journey. So before I get started again, I just wanted to thank you all so much for all of your beautiful heartfelt comments that you left me, and just everything. Your love and support means so much, and if I'm helping you, that's even better. You know, it's the best job in the world to be here to help you guys, and if I can help you through my own experiences, then that's my mission and that's what I'm here to do. So thank you. So yeah, where I left off before was, you know, I got a slap round the face telling me to snap out of it, and from that day it was almost as if the universe, they became so dominant in my life from that day, because I made a conscious decision to really trust them, and I put my faith in them. You know, I made a deal, basically, you got to give me something to live for, and they did. They really did. They gave me myself, and how it happened was incredible, because I was basically following the signs. They were giving me things daily that were teaching me something. They were showing me the way, because I put my trust in them. I just allowed them to do what it is they needed to do for me. When I was getting a job, I was trusting that this was the job I needed to have. This job sent me to the most beautiful island called Menorca. It's one of the Spanish islands, and I trusted that's where I was supposed to go to. I didn't try and fight it, because like I said, day by day things were happening to me. I started to really connect to myself. I started to stop feeling sorry for myself, and by trusting the universe and them taking me to wherever it was that I was supposed to go, this island became my salvation. No word of a lie. I met one of my beautiful friends that I'm still friends to this day with now, my soul sister. And we had very similar experiences that we were talking about, and really connected with each other. And because I was surrounded by nature and this beautiful blue crystal water and sea and golden sand, and, you know, just, it was so spiritual for me. It was like my retreat. And when I was in the nature, I was connecting so much more to myself. I had me time. I finally had also me time, whereby before I had so many questions, I was now receiving the answers, and the answers were not coming from anyone else. They were coming from me. I was the one that had the answers, and things were just happening with me. My spiritual senses now were becoming heightened. I was beginning to see everything that was going on around me. I was connecting with absolutely everything. I was reading people like that. I was seeing situations going on without doing any card readings at all. You know, I didn't even need them. My dreams were telling me so much. And I was remembering things from when I was younger. I was remembering what spiritual experiences I actually had. I was remembering vivid dreams I was having when I was 5 years old. And they were all telling me something. But at the time, I didn't know that. These were buried. These were long gone. But all of a sudden, these were now at the forefront of my mind, and I was remembering absolutely everything. And I was finding my truth. I was finally ready. My higher self was finally ready to step forward and be my true self. Because the ego life that I was living in for so long was becoming It was fading. It was dispersing. I couldn't live that way anymore. I couldn't even be that person if I tried to be now, because that was no longer my truth. I had to still get to that point of being my true self. And this is what was happening. And I remember there was a period of time when I was in Menorca, and daily, I was getting messages daily. I was getting answers daily, and I would be running down to reception to tell my soul sister, I'm going, oh my God, I just figured something out. And this is what I just finally got it. And I was telling her things that just was coming to me. And she looked at me and she was like, how are you doing this? And I went, what do you mean? She said, you're quoting the I Ching. And I said, what's the I Ching? And she said, are you kidding? And I said, no, I don't, babe. I said, I've never read the I Ching. I don't know what it is. She was blown away. She went, I can't believe that you're actually doing this. She said, I can't understand how you're getting this information when you've never read it. And I didn't think anything of it because I didn't know what she was talking about. All I cared about was that I was getting these answers. So she bought me the book, the I Ching book. And I read it, of what you can read at the beginning, the introduction, before you start reading what the hexagrams are telling you. And I burst into tears. I was crying so much because I was literally quoting what they were saying without never knowing that. No one had ever told me this information. It was just coming to me because I was connecting. I was connecting with source. I was connecting to truth. I was connecting to me. And the answers are inside yourself. They're there. And it was blowing my mind, and I couldn't stop crying because I'm like, wow. The confirmation just coming to me. And my God, I felt so much love. I felt so much protection. And what was happening was that my spiritual life now was who I truly was. So this is what happened. I began my transformation, and my awakening was here, you know. I was living it daily. And I noticed that a lot of toxic people were leaving my life. I noticed that everyone in my life up until this point were there for reasons, whether they were lessons, whether they were lifelong friends, whether they were teachers, whether they were guides, whatever it was, I could start to see the reason in everything. So, you know, this is where it all basically began for me, and this was 2012. And come 2013, I'd been placed back in Spain, mainland Spain, where I am now, and where I met Twin. And they placed me in the hotel here. And this was out without me trying to take control of anything. I accepted Twin had the girlfriend. We hadn't spoken since early 2012. So it was well over a year before we had any form of communication. And it was coming up for 2 years whereby we hadn't seen each other. So it's about a year and a half of no communication, about 2 years of physical not seeing each other. But I still felt the connection. I still knew that he was there with me. I still saw him in everything, but I was getting on with me. I was getting on with my path, my life. And I just allowed the universe to do what it does best. To guide you and to love you and support you. So, you know, we'd become best friends now, me and the universe. We had each other's backs. We were like, yay, love you too. So I really got into the place of feeling very good in myself. And anyway, went over, I was staying with a mutual friend again, and lo and behold, Twin wants to come and see me. So when I knew he was coming into the place of where I was, my face started to twitch, like literally my whole body was twitching. And I'm just like, calm, everything's fine, you know. So he came in and it was like no time had passed. It was like seeing him an hour ago, and the connection was just there. It was still strong. There was still that level of love. Nothing had changed. Nothing. After everything I'd been through, I was in the exact same place with him. And nothing really much happened. We sort of like had a few discussions and stuff, but nothing of, you know, major significance. He was still with the girlfriend. They were living together now. So I just let them do what they had to do. And that was on the Friday that I saw him. By the Sunday, they'd split up. They'd split up. And then he went back to Madrid because they'd actually split up while he was in the place I was, and she'd gone back to Madrid, and then they'd split up while he was here and she was there. And I was like, oh well. I was still not standing in my truth, was I? No, I wasn't. But I kind of felt that at that time I was still hurt. I was still, you know, as much as the connection was there, where I had been working on myself, the boundaries were now there. You know, there was no overstepping my boundary now. I needed to see that he was going to prove himself, you know, and I just carried on doing what I had to do. I went back to the UK after my season had ended here, and that was it. I didn't see him again after they split up with each other. I just left him to it because I was like, I still had my reserves. As much as I wanted to be in his arms and to love him, I was holding back. And I'm glad I did. You know, there was a reason for me doing so. So, come 2014, I decided it was time for me to move here for good and to get a normal job and have a normal life without having to travel here, there and everywhere and go backwards and forwards. I was ready to finally make my move and come to the place that I connected with. And it was the right time. I had basically dealt with what I needed to deal with in order for me to succeed anywhere, because I was never going to make it where I wanted to be all the while I had work to do and to deal with things, because all the while I was running away from things that I needed to deal with, I was never making it. And I felt I was ready. I felt like I had done my work. I felt I was finally free to be somewhere where my heart belonged without running away from my past. So I did. I booked a one-way ticket, and within 3 days everything fell into place, to the point I even got my residencia to live here forever. So it all happened, and Twin found out that I again was meeting up with a friend, because by this point we hadn't decided. I didn't even know if I had a job yet. This was on the third day, and the third day me and the friend planned to meet up for a drink. So I had an interview before the drink, and when I had the interview I got offered the job straight away that day. Went to meet the friend. He was like, "You can come and live with me," and I went, "Yay!" So I basically got the job and the place to live on that day. And that day he said to me, "Twin's on his way down." And I went, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, he knew that you were coming for a drink with me today." I told him. He said, so he booked the first train from Madrid to come down. And I went, "Why?" He said, "I don't know." And I'm like, okay, listen, what is this? Why does this guy, you know, I know that I felt a connection to him. I still didn't know what this was, but I just kind of dealt with the fact that that was it, you know, there was no more to that. So the fact that he kept coming to me to see me and booking a train ticket straight away to come down, I'm like, what do you want now? Like, what do you want? You chose to be with someone else, dude, you know. You made it very clear that you didn't want to be with me, and it was still very much like, I still had my wall up. I still had that a bit of reserve there. But I just thought, okay, well, you're coming down. And again, my face starts twitching, and I think I needed to down a cocktail or something. I was like, give me alcohol now. I just need a drink. You know, I was so nervous. And along he comes, and again, heart, connection, love, everything, you name it, there it was again. And I'm like, jeez, man, what is this? You know, I knew I was connected, but again, it was this connection that was just blowing my mind every single time I saw him. And I noticed, a shift. I noticed a shift in him. I noticed sincerity. I noticed heart space. I noticed the energy. I noticed little things he was doing for me. And this is when the outside influences really started to kick in, because people were seeing the level of connection with, sorry, I didn't want to say names, but Twin and I had. People were starting to see something they hadn't witnessed in people around them. You know, people are normally, they see two people fancy the pants of each other, get together, have a relationship, and then, you know, it's a possibility they get married, and then after that, you know, they're cool in their marriage, or they see them break up. Whereby what they were seeing with Twin and I was this magnetic force, and they didn't like it. They didn't like what they saw. They didn't like that I could possibly be connected to someone that in their eyes was not worthy of my love. Because, you know, Twin was very much woman after woman after woman, or women with women with women. You know, he had a lot of women now. It transpired that he had a girlfriend here and a girlfriend there and a girlfriend there, and I knew that. I was starting to find out a lot about Twin, and I started to see what he was capable of, how he was with women. But I knew our connection was not that. I knew there was something more. But what was happening was people were telling me, don't trust him. Don't fall for it. He's only there, you know, he's just playing you. He's just playing you. He doesn't really like you. He doesn't really want you. He doesn't... And the negative influences started to really get inside my head. They were making me distrust my knower. They were making me distrust my truth, my connection. They were making me feel that maybe I am just imagining this connection then. Maybe it's not real. Maybe he is just going to hurt me all over again. So I got the fear. Fear was right back in there, and doubt was right back in there, and distrust was right back in there. And I started to ignore my truth. I started to neglect my truth. I started to neglect my trust in myself and in Twin. And I allowed the negative influences from not only people that I know, but from his best friends saying this to me too. The people that should have his back were betraying him to me. And things were niggling at me. Like I was very confused that someone could do that to their best friend. Because, you know, in my eyes, I just thought best friends had each other's backs. But no, I allowed the negative, I allowed the darkness in. Not darkness as in going back into the dark night of the soul, but darkness in terms of the energy around that wanted us to not be together. They did not want us together. And do you know how close we were? We were an inch away from being together for real. But because I allowed the negative influences to get inside my head and to insist on telling me that nothing between us was true, that it was all absolute bullshit, and allowing them to put the fear back into me and allowing them to make me feel like I distrusted my inner knowing, I ended it. I put it to an end. I went, no, can't do this, sorry, not happening. I am not going back down that road again. You know, the thought of having to go back into that depression all over again, I was like, hell to the no. I am not doing that. No, thank you. So I did. I put an end to it. And then I decided to make sure that this connection would be done for good and cut it dead. I decided to get with his brother-in-law. That's what I did. Yeah. So I'm going to love you and leave you with that, because that's now going on to chapter 4. And you're probably sitting there like, no, got with his brother-in-law. Just for the record, before I get into chapter 4, I just have to tell you that brother-in-law had in fact separated from the sister. They were not any longer together. And I came after that, so I did not get involved in their marriage, just to set the record straight. He was single, I was single, but yeah, I did that. Pretty good, huh? Not shitty at all, is it? No, good move, But yeah, that's what I did. So I'm going to love you and leave you with that. Chapter 4. And thank you for listening. And guys, you know, just remember that was 2014 and where I am now. So I'm just saying that. Nothing can break yours and twins' bond. Nothing. I've tried it. Doesn't work. Just saying. Anyway, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you with that. Please look out for my update on around about Sunday. I'm probably going to get it posted over to you. And again, thank you so much for your ongoing love and support, and being able to help you guys through your own journeys, through my own experiences, is ultimately the best job in the world. And I just want to continue helping and loving you. And it's from the bottom of my heart that I'm doing this, okay? And I just wanted to say that. So, thank you so much for your love and support always. All right, till next time. See you later.